So I'm gonna go right here. I didn't want to make this video, but I felt like that I had to. So I'm like, fuck, all right, okay, fine. I'm actually getting ready to go out of town. I haven't slept yet. So I'm gonna try and get a few hours of sleep. But while I was getting ready for my little trip tomorrow, um, some things started coming to me. And I knew when they came to me, like I'm gonna have to fucking share and all that shit. But so I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll make this video. But first and foremost, like, share, subscribe, and thrive. Like, share, subscribe, and thrive. And if we forgot to mention, like, share, subscribe, and thrive. Okay, just like that. Order of operations. But say, hey, Tottenham. Yeah, that's Tottenham right there. He's a little rambunctious at times. But the main invisible cock blocker to your magic that you don't know about, that's going to be the subject of this video. But before I get into that shit, the doors are open to the rapid miracle infusion ritual. So whether you need a miracle, whether you want a miracle, or whether you would like a miracle, this is for you. You know what I'm saying? This particular ritual is, we're working with Saint Expedite. So if you know who Saint Expedite is, then you really want to get down on this. But I'm also making this video for those participating in the ritual. And that's also why I brought this shit up, because I think it's important. And in choosing what we're going to bring to this and what we want to see brought to us expeditiously, it's important to understand what I'm about to tell you, because it's real shit, and you're going to see that. You'll know that when you hear it. But the main number one invisible cock blocker to your magic is a little thing we call secondary gain. Secondary gain. I'll say it one more time. Secondary gain. Now, some of you know what that is. But for the rest of you who don't know, I'm going to give an example that you're going to get and you're going to understand. There was a woman who was struggling with her weight. Everything she tried failed. She starved herself. She fucking did grapefruit diets and military diets and fucking Atkins and all this shit, everything. And she may have gotten, minimal results, but then she would notice that something would happen and she would just go back to the way she was. And next thing you know, the weight would come back with tax. Okay. So after exhausting herself and, after every attempt and failing, as she's seen it, it made it that much harder to do the next thing. And then the next thing, and then the next thing, until she just stopped. She was convinced that something was wrong with her, That's why wasn't any of these things working? She was taking action, but why weren't they working? So she goes and talks to this man about this problem. And through her conversation with this man, there was an incident that was brought up to her mind. An incident like when she was like 16 or, somewhere around there. And she was sexually assaulted by a friend of a friend, a male, And at that time, when this event came up, she remembered right before the event happened, and she had a little Coke bottle figure, you know what I'm saying, little tiny waist, the ass was bopping, thighs was popping, all that shit. And that was her natural shape, you know. And after that, of course, she had to deal with a lot of grief, a lot of pain, a lot of shame, everything. And she would just eat and eat and eat and eat. And of course, the choice of food she would make to eat were more comfort foods. So obviously, from that point on, she started gaining weight. And then she just reached a point where she could never get back to a certain, like, she would always be a certain big, she couldn't get down past, this certain time, this certain weight. And for a while, she thought she understood that, you know, I'm addicted to eating this food because it fucking tastes good and I get endorphins and dopamine and I get like some feel good feelings and shit because ain't nothing else happening but this food, And she was startled. She was amazed through her conversations with this man that was only the surface. The true, purpose of eating all these foods and like putting on this weight and keeping on this weight. She discovered that there was a part of herself that wanted the weight. Keeping this weight, bitch. You ain't losing this weight. Because that part of her believed that weight, being fat, she went from thick to thock. You know what I'm saying? She withdrew her energy. She withdrew, and she was as big as she was invisible. I mean, people noticed her because she was big, but she felt invisible. And even though she felt, pain because she wanted to, wear certain shit, she wanted to do certain shit, but she just was like, she reached that point where she just got so big that she was like, I'm not that person. So like, that's for somebody else, but I sure would like it. You know what I'm saying? But that was that part of her though that said, nah, bitch, we keeping this fat. You're not getting rid of this shit. I'll make sure that you fucking get distracted and reach for that food again. And I'll win every time. Because this fat is not just fat, it's armor, it's protection. So no man will ever touch you like that again. Bitch, we're keeping this fat. Okay? Okay. And she discovered that shit and had a good cry and made peace with that aspect. First of all, acknowledged that aspect, and then made an agreement, a new agreement, that we can continue to be safe and we can continue to be secure, but we can lose this fat, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Secondary gain. Her conscious gain was to lose weight. She really did want to lose weight. She was in pain, man. She's tired of living like that. You know what I'm saying? But the part of her that really makes shit happen and will win every time didn't want that. So she was split. She was divided. You know what I'm saying? Secondary gain. Just like, someone who smokes, that smoke can offer distraction or, the feel-good chemicals too, of course, and all that shit, as from maybe a background of anxiety or stress or whatever it is, even though consciously they want to. Or maybe there's other more emotional reasons though. You know what I'm saying? It's always an emotional reason and it's more than likely not going to make sense. But these things are so powerful, and I would almost say they are the most powerful reason why your magic don't work. But I think that's tied for number one with choosing the wrong thing because that's not what you really want. You know what I'm saying? You just think you want it, but you're choosing it for a wrong reason. So a lot of times there's a secondary gain in why you're not fucking getting it. It's not that something or some fucking deity is keeping it away from you or you didn't do something right. Nah, It's that a part of you thinks that by keeping it away, we are doing something right. Secondary gain. So it's worth, kind of asking yourself, like, especially if it's something that's bothering you and something that you're struggling with, then it makes sense to investigate that, really question that. Ask yourself questions that go that way. You know what I'm saying? For real. I mean, I'm being real. I'm talking real shit here. Okay, we're sprinkling jewels around the main dish. The ritual's the main dish, but these are some other jewels. You take these and you can do some shit. Because when that lady, she did have a moment though, when she got tired of being tired. So she did something about it. Do something about it, And it all started, she said, when she looked in the mirror. And even though she's been looking in the mirror every day throughout this process of going from Coke bottle Sally, boom pow, to, the opposite end of the spectrum, she said it came to a point where she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who the fuck she was looking at. And that right there was like the shattering, the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And then she subsequently went and talked to this man, So you can want something really bad. You can also be afraid of it. You can think that if you get it, something bad is going to happen in some form or fashion. Fill in the blank with that one. People won't like me. It might cost me my relationship. Whatever. It just goes on and on. And sometimes these secondary gains can be stacked. It might be 2 or 3 secondary gains. But there's a hierarchy, though. There's a bottom line to that, So just a little something, put a little bug in your ear, because my intention is that this ritual is going to be successful for you, especially if you're in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's when you consider things like this about yourself that you make real headway, not just in this ritual, but in everything and in every area and in who you are. All right? I'm going to take my ass to sleep. You run with this shit.